Greetings, everyone. Today is May 2nd, 2017. If you're listening to this video, you've probably already seen, I hope so, the video I embedded above of Jordan Sather's on quantum physics in regard to the Ascension dynamics. Of course, this is something that is what I do, what I work with, especially in the Osiris Arising project, but really throughout all my work ties together in one way or another to this topic, just about all that I do. So I was very impressed with his video, his personal insights and understanding and grasp of the bigger picture, but also all that he brought together from other people as well. You know, I feel like I'm finally in the game now. Before I was more or less alone in all of this. When I say before, when I was even younger than Sather is now. But now, you know, it's coming out, it's coming together, and the pieces are fitting together just as I foresaw in many ways those years ago. So I would like to just touch on a few things that he commented on and brought to my attention that's out there, not only his observations, but others that he pieced together in this particular video he did. I just want to touch on the points where I can add some commentary in regard to the Thothic perspective of all of this. So here we are on the link that I've provided along with the Sather video, Ascension Energies. I'm really impressed with this website. I haven't actually explored it that much, but what I'm seeing, I'm liking. And what is written here, I especially like. Now, I've not only watched, of course, Jordan's video, but I've watched this one and most of this one, and I really like those as well. There's some others down here I haven't seen yet, but they look good. Anyway, what Jordan talks about right at the first somewhere is the I can't say the word, helical model of our universe as a vortex. This is something I've seen before, actually, and it does certainly, I mean, it gets the Thothic seal of approval as in regard to how this is actually working. I'm going to play just a little of this. I'm going to turn off the sound, the music, because that's a bit disturbing, and it seems to be distorted on the Zoom medium. So if I can find out how to turn the sound down, I will. Oh, there it is. So I'm just going to turn that down. And here we go. Now, watching this computer-generated version of what's really going on here, we need to see this, of course, with every single star. Whoops. Just ended the whole thing. I thought it was starting at the beginning. Let me go back. We're going to start it again. Here we are. And this starts, of course, with the old model and goes into the correct version. Did I not? Oh, goodness. Here we go. Okay, so here you're seeing it. And it's not only beautiful and dynamic and creates helixes, like in the DNA, because all is one, and our DNA is directly influenced by this effect. But also, this effect is directly influenced by our DNA. It works both ways. Remember, as I stated in the Nutri-Universe video that I made for Portal members recently, everything that we see is a holographic imagery coming, literally being projected out of the DNA. and it is connected through to a greater DNA template that organizes and focuses all of this. That's a complex subject. I'm not going to go all into it, but I did touch on it in the neutral universe. And we also see that this sort of represents, almost looks like a sperm, you know, going toward its source of consummation. And indeed, there's a generative field within a star, such as our sun, that is very impregnating and causes, through the flashing universe effect, little pause for a cough there, causes, through the flashing universe effect, a creational field. So each star is actually creating other stars, not just like popping them out like popcorn, but creating the dynamics that evolves into other stars. Now, every star also Thoth calls a living light, and or a realm of the living lights. I'm not exactly sure, but he's always speaking of him, the living lights of the sun, or the living lights of any star. And this is because he states that every star sun is actually an abode of what we know as angelic beings. Okay, I'm going to just stop this for a second, if I can do that. Where in the world are we? Here we are. And so as we see a sun or a star, it is really a reflection of a nest, an abode of these angelic beings, which are high superintelligence streamings. You know, they have intelligence, and they can manifest in a human form with these light flashing energies around them that appear as wings, at least they did to the ancients. So this is true, but they aren't people with wings, you know, obviously not. They're far beyond that, and they aren't so individualized as we think of them until they interact with us. Then they become more individualized, and then we see them as Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel. These are the names we've given to them, but these are stations of energetic divine components that interact with us and can actually do so in a way that reflects our humanity. So when we're seeing this model, excuse me, my throat is not too good today. When we're seeing this model, let me bring it back again so we can just see a picture of it. I'm just going to freeze it somewhere here. I want to find a picture. There we are. Okay. But let me bring it out so we can see it a little better. There we are. Okay. So when we're seeing a model like this, and how the sun or a star moves in this way, so that it causes this beautiful dancing helical experience, this vortex. We are seeing something that is constantly being creative. It's the sperm. It's creating fields of dynamics for other star suns, but it's doing more than that, because this is the font of the angelic kingdom in each star. There is a vibration that carries out. It's a divine insemination of the entire cosmos as we receive that cosmos into our being as a holographic field. You know, this is almost beyond the beyond, so it's difficult to put into words, and I'm not going to go much further with it. Maybe we'll do a whole video just on that, but I wanted to touch on that point of what we're seeing here. So if we move down now to this video, and you know, the Zoom tends to distort voice other than mine, but if it's a voice that's playing on a video, so it actually does not distort my second live voice. I'm not sure why that is, but it does distort these. So I'm not sure if I can actually play this.
In the last several years, the sun has gone through a series of changes within itself, or at least we have been able to observe them and record them. These changes, these transformations within the sun, assist our transformation as well. Earth's upper atmosphere breathes. Its breath is influenced by the solar activity, by the activity within the sun. Every being living within the earth lives within this solar activity. The rhythm of these breaths is linked to the ebb and flow of geomagnetic activity. The upper atmosphere of the earth, called the thermosphere, is a gaseous shell around the planet's atmosphere, and it exchanges energy with the space plasma environment. In other words, it is in communication with the environment of that which we call outer space. From the perspective of the earth, then we are not only linked to or connected with the sun, we are actually embedded within it. Hence, every change that it makes, every transformation that it experiences, changes and transforms all of mankind as well.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there for a moment. This leads us to what Thoth has spoken about to me for many years, about the higher evolutions living within, dwelling within their suns. Their planets are within their suns. And that's, because the energy, they're able to do that because this, what we think of as fire, is hot, is burning, is destroying heat, is removed from their state of being because they're in the vibrations of that. That's the sun. So there is no heat vibration there. And even further, there's dimensional aspects to it and all of this that allow them to see a star canopy. And it's just really amazing. And there's a lot of detail to it that I won't go into here. But we hear her saying here that we're really already embedded in the sun as we're moving through this heliacal process with the sun, and that everything that the sun does in fact affects us. So we could say that we're really in the outer sheath of the sun already. And this is something that hadn't been brought to my attention before until I heard this. Of course, I knew the sun influenced us directly, but the way she's putting it here, that we are embedded within the sun, this turned on a little light bulb in my head. Aha, we actually already are within the outer sheath. But what Thoth was referring to is being within the center of the sun, within it. And so we can see as our vibrations move, as the whole planetary spectrum vibration move to a higher and higher dimension, that would occur because we're moving toward that already. And when we ascend into world system 2, that's what a world system 2 is one that operates within its sun. And that means that instead of aiming, circling the divine Holy of Holies of the angelic kingdom, we could say, within our sun, we would be have the sun around us. We would be in the center of the torus of the sun, and the angelic beingness would be all around us. So imagine that. Of course, we won't have this sun because, according to Thoth, there's a little caveat here, and that is that this planetary spectrum, as we understand it, returns from whence it came into Rigel, into the blue star sun Rigel. So that would be our sun that would be rotating around us. That's a little interesting segue there from the normal pattern, but nevertheless, this to me really, really defines how that's going to take place, that we're already moving toward it, but we're still viewing it as being something we circle around, and indeed we're vortexing toward, actually. We're moving through the vortex with it, but we're being drawn closer and closer into that spectrum of receipt, not to burn up like the fellow with the wings that flew too close to the sun, but to actually merge with the vibrations of the sun. Let's see, I'm not going to play the whole thing here. You can watch the whole one on the link I gave you, but I'm just going just a little bit further here.
Any activity within the sun constantly impacts the earth. it changes the planet's frequencies. It creates oscillations within those frequencies. And again, your frequencies change as well with that of the sun. All of this solar activity knocks on the door of the Earth's magnetosphere. It's sort of like tapping on the desk, creates a sound, it rings. So how does the sun do this? Well, it streams charged particles toward the Earth in an energetic field that we call the solar wind. These particles impact a layer that is around the Earth called the magnetosphere and actually push against it. Solar wind is increasingly projected through and from coronal holes within the sun.
Okay, so it goes on and on. Very interesting, all of it. Now, Jonah also speaks about the midnight sun, when the sun is going to go dark. As it changes, it shifts into that new dynamic that is aiming toward when it changes into, a higher element, a higher vibrational sun. Now, we're speaking of our solar sun here. It's going to go through a lot of shifts and changes. And in the ascension process that Thoth gave to me, one of the stages he calls calibration of the midnight sun. So this would correlate, I do believe, with what he's speaking about. This is very hard print for me to read. In the old days, I didn't do too well putting websites together that were very legible, so I'm going to have to kind of look closely here. As the Earth's etheric current rushes to greater levels and the golden sparks of Christic mind transform all vibration and matter to match that acceleration, so the original blue hole overlaid with the Adonai Kodesh, will begin to create high-frequency rotational fields of plasma around its core. This, in turn, will draw upon the solar shield of the sun, and the sun, in turn, will begin to create an opposing force field, resulting in an antimatter or midnight sun. Now, this is stating something that is not how they think it's going to happen. But according to Thoth, this is how it's going to happen, okay? So let me continue here. Again, pardon me, but I'm having to really strain to read this in this red tiny print. This will be a sheath only, just above the surface of the solar orb. All the other planets in this solar system will experience a sensation of the Earth's LP40 process, but only Venus will move with Earth through the stargate. It must be understood that the living being of the planet Venus is already in a higher frequency than Earth's. This is why it appears dead to us in our reality. However, as a guardian to Earth, it cannot pass through the gate until we do. When our world transcends, so Venus will as well, simply from a different point of demarcation. Once on the other side of the stargate, Venus and Earth will become twin worlds existing in the same time zone. Not the same zone, not the same time zone. Oh, no, that's not going to happen. Let's see, where was I? Thus, when the midnight sun is born, both Venus and Earth will respond, while the other planets in this solar system will nourish the procedure with their stabilizing energies. The solar antimatter sheath will cause dense cells of antimatter called ballistema to build up in its field. The inrushing forces of ultramatter from the blue hole will now be expanded to envelop the entire planet and will draw upon the ballistema like a magnet. This process is born of the supra-powerful attraction opposites that will be that will be occurring. Ultramatter is the same charge as is our matter, but of a much greater full light vibration. Antimatter, which exists due to the very nature of its opposite universal charge, responds to matter by attraction, collision, and then annihilation, but responds to ultra into the interior. I'm not sure what that means. Okay, let's proceed. The lightning paths will subsequently cause the atmosphere of Earth to become charged with itons. As the itonic field builds, the regions on the Earth, which I am given to call the Golden Taya allotments, will begin to register their own specialized fields within it. The Golden Taya allotments are the land areas on the planet comprising a total of 20% of the Earth's surface area, which will move through the 4444 Stargate with those humans who are prepared for ascension. And again, I have to go back and say, for those of you who may not have heard it before, we're not talking about rock, sand, and soil going up in the air, but the light codes, the intrinsic true light being of the matter. The high-level vibrational fields which will begin to form in these regions will contain specific light codes which have already been embedded in the matter thereof that will, therein, I think I should have said, that will react somewhat differently to the itonic overfield consuming the planetary ecosphere at that time than will other areas of the planet. In these golden tayas will begin to take physical form in the new atmosphere. I'm not sure, that sentence doesn't totally make sense, but what I think I'm trying to say there is that the light codes, as they ascend, they will start to take physical form in the new atmosphere of the new Earth star. Tetratrions are already beginning to form in the etheric within the golden Taya areas of the Earth. At first, the atmosphere of the entire Earth will become itonic. Next, the matter forms within the golden Taya will itonize, and in a later stage, the matter which is not within the golden Taya regions will also transfer into itonic substance. While all the matter of the Earth will eventually itonize, that within the golden Taya will undergo a much more accelerated process. The matter forms of the Earth, which are not going through the 44 Stargate, must itonize in order to release their what? I don't know what that word is. I think it's a misspelling, and I can't read it. There's something, as they will be preparing to separate from the rest of the planetary matrix. Okay, sorry I read that so poorly, but anyway. So the process, let's get back to the process of the midnight sun. You can look up ITONS, ITONS, if you go to spiritmythos.org and do a search for itons in this little search thingy. It will bring it up, the definition of that. But back to the midnight sun, because that's really what I'm reading it to you about. So when the sun darkens, the Hopi prophecy and all of this, and it comes as a blue flame, well, you see there's this blue hole involved too. So it's drawing from the sun. So there will be this blue draw, but there's also a blue hole that's encompassing the planet. So there's a lot of blue going on here, and I'm not exactly sure how all this defines and puts together. But certainly, we're speaking of the same thing here that Jason is mentioning that connects to the Hopi prophecy. And also this whole thing with the red shift, blue shift, totally agrees with both. Now, he didn't ever give me the whole explanation of it, but he did say that the red shift thing was totally not true. He didn't go into the whole dynamic, which I found very interesting, and I did receive a resonance from them both on that this was the genuine explanation. But for many years he said that the red shift is not a correct analysis of things. So, and of course the thing about the red star and the blue star, excuse me, um, relates to how they keep saying, oh, well, Rigel is like young because it's blue, you know. And Thoth said that's not the case. It's totally not the case. It's very ancient. And Orion, they say the whole constellation of Orion is very young, I believe. And he said, that's not true. So I think that has a lot to do with this red shift, blue shift concept that they've got all messed up there. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. And I'm sure I could go on and on about certain aspects of Jason's video because it was all so salient. It's so pertinent to information I have received. Again, I certainly didn't get all the parts of it because I found some things that he brought through there, made me aware of. They're very interesting, and I had not heard it before from Thoth or anyone else. But as he was speaking about it, I was receiving, yes, 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 this is correct. So it all comes together beautifully, and I just wanted to share that. So I hope this new experimenting with using Zoom in this particular way works because, as I stated before, it uploads so much faster. So that's all for now, and thank you for listening.